Hello, my name is 𝗃𝗹𝗶𝗁, and today I want to show you how to edit the value of a row in a Google Sheet via ManyChat, and all of this without using Zapier or Integromat. So probably you have seen that nowadays you can send data to a Google Sheet. You can create a row in Google Sheet directly from ManyChat, and also you can retrieve a row from a sheet via ManyChat without using Integromat or Zapier. However, at this moment, there is no way to edit the value of a row without using, well, it is because I'm going to show you how, but directly from ManyChat. So typically people are using Zapier or Integromat to be able to modify the value on a row. But today I want to show you how using 𝗃찾, which is part of the Google Suite, you can do that. And probably you know that the Google Suite has a number of applications, including Sheets, Docs, Slides, Calendar, and more. And it also includes something called 𝗃찾. Let me move this again here. 𝗃찾 can be used to create functions internally for a Google Sheet, or to work with a particular, document or calendar, or to send emails. It can do a lot of things. But in particular, we can create 𝗃찾 that can be used as an API or webhook. So because of that, we can send data to Google Sheet via that API that we create with the 𝗃찾. And the possibilities are huge, because you can do so many things that is crazy powerful. I mean, you can say, okay, I'm going to send data to a sheet, modify some row values, and then depending on some conditions, you can trigger emails directly from there. Or you can integrate with email marketing platforms such as MailChimp, or you can call other APIs and retrieve data from other places, combine that with the data you have on your sheet, and then send that information back to ManyChat. So this is crazy powerful. So I hope what we are going to do today can show the possibilities. And 𝗃찾 is based on JavaScript. Thus, if you have some knowledge of JavaScript, that will be super helpful. It will be useful. If you don't know JavaScript, but you know a little bit of programming, basically how to create variables and do for loops and things like that, it's going to be fairly simple to work with 𝗃찾. The idea is that with 𝗃찾 you can create a web app, and typically when you think in a web app, you think on a HTML page, but these particular web apps that you can create with 𝗃찾 can serve HTML, so in this case can create web pages for you, or can serve JSON data or XML or just plain text. So in this case, when it retrieves, it serves JSON, XML, or text. Basically, it works like a server-side API that you can create somewhere else. But you don't have to do that. I mean, Google will host that for you and all these things. So this is very nice. And the idea is, once you publish that app, you get a public URL from Google that you can call either get or post requests with parameters. So you can say, okay, the public URL will be something.google.com. It comes from Google, so it will say something like that. And at the end, you pass parameters like URL parameters, like, a question mark, variable 1 equal the value of that variable, and with an ampersand, variable 2 and the value of that variable, and etc., etc. And 𝗃찾 provides two methods to support the get and post requests respectively. Do get and do post. So what's the plan here? We are going to create a spreadsheet with the headers that we want. Let's say that we have, in an application that we are going to work, it's going to be super simple. So we are going to have two columns. One with the names of fruits, and the other with the colors of those fruits. So that header, or that first row, will have the first column. It's going to be fruit, and the second column, it will be color. Then we are going to create an app script that can receive data from a URL, the app script web app that Google is going to provide us as parameters. And we are going to check if a variable exists and do something with that. So if the variable exists, a fruit in the column fruit, if it exists, edit that value on another variable. And if it doesn't, add new row to that sheet. And once we finish that little script, we are going to publish that as a web app and test it. For this test, we still don't need ManyChat. We can copy that URL and see if the result is what we expect. Once we know that it's working, then we are going to go to ManyChat and we are going to create a flow that captures data. So it will be something like, hey, give me the name of a fruit and what's the color of that. And once we finish asking those two questions, we can add an action via external request, and it will be type get. Even though we are going to send data, I'm not going to use post, because in post it expects JSON and we want to send the variables have URL parameters. So the request URL for that request will be something similar to this. Let's start with the first part of the plan. We are going to create a spreadsheet with the headers that we want. And here, let's name this Google Sheet that I'm just creating a new one. So I'm gonna call this editing values via ManyChat. And by the way, probably this works also with other things, not only with ManyChat. So if you have a web app that you are creating, you can call this API that you will create with Google Sheets to send data to save that to the spreadsheet. So here I'm going to create for the first row the headers that I say. So I said, okay, fruit and color. And let's format this a little bit so we know this is the header. And let's do this a little bit bigger, 14, and center these headers, okay? And let's make this a little bit wider, because we don't have too many things, so it's okay. So here we finished the first task that we want, that is created this. Now we are going to create an app script that can retrieve data from the URL as parameters. So let's do that. So in here we go to tools and script editor, and we have to name this project. So let's say edit values on sheet. Now, as you see, by default it gives me my function. This is because I can create functions to do any kind of things inside the spreadsheet, but I don't want to do any kind of thing. I want to use the methods that I mentioned before, the do get and do post. So we are going to work with those. So here I rename this, my function, I say do get, and let's copy this thing. And let's say that I pass a parameter here because I want to pass parameters. So let's say E, even this is not for event but for request, but let's call it E for short, it's easier. And let me copy this, copy and paste, and this change I do post here. Even though I need only do post, for some reason if I don't put a do get when I'm going to create the web app, it complains that I need a do get, so I'm creating both of them. And here I return, let's say that I return something called handle request, and I pass the parameter E, and I want to copy this on the other one. So I want to be able to do everything with the same code, so I don't want to duplicate things later. And then here I create a new function, handle request, and I pass that parameter. So the first thing that I need to do is to get the content as text output. Let me copy here some comment. So we need a service for returning the text content for a script. So let me add a variable called output that is gonna be content service create text output. This one, the first one here. I need to be able to pass to create some variables to receive the parameters. So here I copy some comments so it will be easier to understand what I'm going to do. So we are going to create variables to receive respective parameters. So for example, if we are going to receive a name, country, and ID, this could be var name e, that is the request with the parameter name, and the same with country and the same with ID. Let's go to see the documentation for the web apps. So if you go here in Google Apps Script and we go to the web apps documentation, it says that it has to contain a doGet or doPost function, and the function should return a HTML service HTML output or a content service text output. That's why we put this particular thing here. And then the request parameters, here are the things that we can pass. We can say a query string, so this is the request query string, and it's the value or string portion of the URL, you know, the things that goes at the end with question mark, name, Alice, and whatever. Or parameter, in this case, it passes only the first value of return parameter. As you see in this example, they have n equal 1 and n equal 2. So it can pass that. But if we say just parameter, it will get only the first value of each parameter. If we say parameters, it will create an array of all the parameters. So you see the same as parameter. Alice is only 1, but here we get an array with Alice, and here n is an array of 1, 2. And some other things that you can see here, okay, that we don't care for this at this time. We have fruit and color. So I want a var called fruit equal parameter dot fruit, and the same for color. Let me copy and paste this in color, and I'm using the parameter 1 because in ManyChat, in a particular field, custom field, I cannot save an array. I can save only individual values, so I have to pass one particular thing. If you have, let's say, many colors, you will have to create different colors like color 1, color 2, etc. And in ManyChat, you will have to create a custom fields for each one as well. Next, we need to create to refer to a spreadsheet. So let me copy here a note. So you need to open a spreadsheet by passing the ID or using the active spreadsheet. What it means is you can even run this app script in a different spreadsheet than the one that I started. Of course, you can start with a Google app script without starting from Google Sheets. So, but this way you can say, okay, open a particular document. In this case, I want to open a spreadsheet. And the way to do that is using the following code. So let's go to say var ss equal spreadsheet app dot. Now I have autocomplete, so I can look for the thing that I need. Get active sheet, for instance. Actually, I want get active. Get active, let's see. Yeah, you could use also, let's put comments here, but you could have this as var ss equal, let me copy this thing, open by ID, and here you pass the ID of the spreadsheet. So if we go to our spreadsheet, the ID will be all this code. So I can copy that and put that here. But since it's the active, I'm using this, but both methods should do the same. Okay. Then let's create another var called sheet, and this will be equal as ss, and in this case let's do get sheet by name. As you saw, there are many other ways to call this thing, and here if we go back to our spreadsheet, the name of this is sheet1. Let's change the name to data, doesn't matter. So now it's named data. I will use here data. Okay, so it will refer to that one. So I can have different methods for, if I add more sheets here, I can have things for other sheets as well. Then we need to get the values of that sheet on a particular range. If we see here, we want to get the values of everything that is in the sheet for now. I mean, you can set a particular range, but we want to go to everything. So this is what we want to do. So we do var values equal sheet dot, and here we look for get data range. I mean, I'm showing this because you see all the possibilities that we have here. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's lots of potential things. And then we do get values. Then we want to iterate on the first row, the row that we have here for fruit, to see if a particular fruit already exists. So we are going to iterate with a for loop in a single column, in this case in the first column. But before that, since I'm going to iterate and I want to see if the fruit exists, once I found that it exists, I don't want to continue iterating, so I can say var found, and let's initialize this as false, and I will explain that a little bit later. And then we are going to do a for loop here. So for n equals 0, just remember that the values that we are getting here, it's for a full range. So let's say that we have a spreadsheet that has, let's say, 3 columns and 4 rows. It will have 12 values because it's a bidirectional matrix. So here is what we get here. We have exactly that. Now var value, it's gonna be values n, and it will be the row. And this, since it's a matrix, we have rows and columns. In the values, the rows are first and then the columns, and the index start at 0. So we are going to say, and we know that in this case we want the first row. So the index of this first row is 0. This one will be 1, 2, etc. So we say 0 here. So let me put a comment here. So x is the index of the column starting from 0. In this case, we want 0. And then we want to see if this fruit that we got from the parameter is the same as this value. So if value is equal to fruit, then do something. So if these are the same, basically we want to edit the color for that one. So we are going to say, okay, if the value equal fruit, I want to go into that sheet. So I say sheet, and I need to get the range. So I say get range, and I want this first one. You see that there are several possibilities, but I want the first one here. Get range, integer row, integer column. So for the row here, the get range, it will be n, and the column will be the second column, and get range doesn't use the 0 index, so this should be n plus 1. So we want to use the row n plus 1. Let's say that we had some value here in the second one. This n, when we are looping in the initial thing, will be 0, 1, but when we are using set value, it starts at 1, 1, and 2, 2. So we have to do that as well. N plus 1, and the column of the color, which is the one that we have to set the value. The color is, the fruit is column 1 and color is column 2. So we need to put 2 here, and then we need to set value. So we look here for set value. Again, as you see, there are tons of methods. This is super powerful, and we want this particular one, set value, and we want the value to be equal to the color that we receive from the parameter. So this color here. So we are going to put here color. Okay, and if we found the fruit already, since probably we don't want repeats, that's why we are verifying that if it exists, it will be editing this thing. Then we want to say found equal true. Then say break. And here let me put a comment next to this. So we have a reminder that the index in the set value, in the get range, excuse me, it doesn't start at 0 like in this loop, but it starts at 1 in both directions for columns and rows. Then if not found, so not found, we can do like this. Then we need sheet dot append row, and this will be an array. We want the first value is fruit and the second is color. So we say fruit, comma, color. And then let's add, before moving on, some comment here so we know that this thing does. So if the fruit passes a parameter is not found in the table, it will add the fruit, a row with that fruit and color. And then we need to do one more thing. Since we are going to do this from ManyChat, a request, external request, it will expect some message at the end to know if it was successful or not. So we need to add something there here as well. Normally we need a callback, and this is important. For instance, if we have cross-domain, otherwise it will not work. So let's say, but we are not going to send that, but we are going to trick this. So let's say var callback, it will be equal to e parameters, and in this case I will do it like an array. So e parameters callback, and we are going to, since we are not going to send this, we are going to verify if it exists or not. And here I have an error, callback. Okay, so if callback is not defined, triple equal undefined, do something, and else do something else. Okay, so here we are going to use this output object that we created before. Let me copy this, and I will say paste dot, and then we say set content, but here I want this to be in JSON format, so I replace content with JSON dot stringify, and then we put here success. Put this with capital S. Okay, that's the same. And else it will be similar in a sense, but let's copy this and we do a little change. There is this, and in this case we add here the callback that we created before, callback plus under quotes. We have to put this in the success in parentheses plus, and at the end here we have to do the same on the other direction, plus close parentheses like this. And here we need now to say to the output the type of content that we are working. So set main type, this one, and we change this by content service main type, the first one, JSON. So we do dot, and we see the options that we have. So we can send data in CSV format, in JavaScript, in JSON, text, vCard, and XML. In this case, we are going to use JSON. And finally, we want to return output. That's it. I believe it's complete. So let's test this. So I need to publish. And I say deploy as a web app, as I mentioned before. Okay, that seems to be an error. Okay, I found the error. Here is n less than values.length. Okay, now it's working. So here I have to say, this is the first time I have to say that this is a new project, new version. It generates a version each time. And when I'm testing, I want to do that only for myself. But then you have to say anyone, even anonymous. For now, let's test it only myself. And I deploy. Initially, the first time that you do this, it will require authorization. So let's do revise permissions. And I will use this one. And I say allow. This standard thing. And then the project has been deployed. So let's copy this. Copy, and let's put this in a document. I want to copy this. So now I can say here fruit. I can do this in the browser, but I make errors, so it's easier here. Fruit, let's say apple, and color equal red. Okay, now let's put this in the browser, and here I say paste and go, and I get success. Nice. Now let's go to our website, and we see apple red. Okay, let's do it again. So now change the fruit. Let's say banana yellow. Let's copy this, and in this one let's go and paste. Success again. Now let's see our worksheet. Okay, banana yellow. Now let's do one more time. Let's do apple and change the color. Now we want a green apple. So in this case, we already have an apple, so we don't want another row. It should change the color to green. So let's copy this and try again. Again, success. And let's go to a spreadsheet, and yep, it changed to green. Fantastic. Okay. Now that we are ready, and this is working, let's go back to this and say, okay, now we are going to publish this again. And now I want to put this to anyone, even anonymous one, because it's working. So let's update this. And let's copy this script, because I think now it could be different. I don't know, but let's see. So let's put it here below, just to make sure. And yeah, it's a little bit different. So now let's go to ManyChat. And here I created a new flow that I called modify data and sheets. So this is, I'm just started. So I say, okay, type the name of a fruit. And the reply type is a text, and I save this response to a custom field called fruit. So this is nothing strange here. And then I ask what's the color, what's the color of that fruit, and I do something similar. I say this reply text this reply type is text, and I save this response to a custom field called fruit color that I created before. But this shouldn't be anything new here. But then I want to add an action here. I can say create an action. And in this case, I want to do external request, as I said before. And here, I have two options, get and post. But in post, I will have to put the body, and I will have to send something as JSON. And we can do that, but it gets more complex, because that URL that we have, it will not receive the JSON directly. So let's do get instead. And here I will pass the URL that we had before. And then I will put fruit equal whatever fruit and color equal whatever color. However, I have a problem with ManyChat when I have something like that. and this field here doesn't allow me to see what's, if this is too long, what's after that, and the navigation is strange. So I will do first the request, the parameter. So I say question mark fruit equal, and then I get these things here, and I say fruit fruit somewhere right here. That's right. And ampersand color equal fruit color. Okay, it's not taking that. I have to go like this, fruit color, and this is wrong here, fruit color. Okay, and now I will copy this URL at the beginning, so I paste this there like that, and then let's test the request, and it works. Fantastic. So let's save this, and let me preview this to see if it's working. As you see, I tested something similar before, but okay, what's the name of the fruit? So let's do a new fruit. Let's get, what fruits do I have already? I have apple, banana, mango. Let's do pineapple. And the color is, let's say, yellow, I guess. If you don't want that color, you can put something else. And it's not, I'm not getting any feedback here. I can change that, but for the moment, passing something wrong. So the script has something wrong back because it's passing fruit yellow. So let's check that out. And let's remove this part that I created. I put at the end for the moment to see. And yeah, here I say color fruit color. So I need to take this part out. When I was doing this, I start typing, and so I duplicated that. And let's put back the rest of the thing. Let's test the request again just to make sure that is working. Okay, success. And now let's publish this. Now let's create a keyword here. Let's create a new rule, and its message contains fruit. Create the existing let's create this form. Okay, and that's it. So now let's go back to this, and let's test this fruit. Yep. Now, because we have errors in it corrected the last one. Okay, in mango, let's modify mango, and let's say that mango is yellow. Yellow. And then if we go to our spreadsheet, it generates a new row, because the first mango was with capital M, and this one is with is not with capital M. So we have to do some change there. But let's now run this again, fruit, and let's put mango with capital M, and let's say that this is a very crazy mango. This one is going to be blue. So if we go to the spreadsheet, now we see that here the mango is blue, this one. And I can change the apple. Let's say that we have red apples. So let's run it again one more time. I say apple, and here it's capital or not capital? No capital. Okay. and this one will be red. And here it changed to red. That's fantastic. So it's working fine. The only thing that we need to take care is the capitalization here. So let's go to the script here, and we can say, okay, the fruit parameter. So in order to capitalize, we go back to a script, and here we can say, okay, the fruit is this to uppercase, and I have to copy this, and when I append the values, okay, this is right. When I'm reading, here I have to do the same just to make sure. So I will save the data with to uppercase, but if I have something that I see that manually or something, I will verify that. So that should work. Then we need to republish this. But then I have to change the project version, otherwise it will continue running the previous version. So I say new, and I have the date. Again, I don't know if it get me a different value here. I guess it's the same now, but just check. Let's copy this here. It seems to be the same, so it should be working fine. So now let's run this again. Let's do fruit, and let's do apple with capital A. I don't think I have any with capital A. And this apple has a strange color as well. Let's say that is brown. Wow, I will read that, but who cares? And now it put everything in capitalized. Okay, I don't want the whole thing capitalized, but it worked. Okay, that's fine. That's not a big deal anyway. So I leave it there. And as you see, this is working. Probably what you want at the end in the flow is to say something, okay, thank you or whatever, but that's not important there as well. Okay, let's move to the slides a little bit. I have a couple more things to show here. So once we have that, you say, okay, what about quotas? You know, when you use Integromat or Zapier, you pay for the number of things that you request, the number of tasks or steps, and it can get expensive for all with Zapier, but you have a lot of limits. With AppScript, it depends on the plan that you have. If you have a Gmail account, you have a certain number of things that you can do per day. Let's say here, a spreadsheet created, you can create up to 250 spreadsheets per day. But if you have a G Suite Basic, which is the one that you pay for when you have an email that is with your own domain, you pay $5 per account, and if it's enterprise, you pay $10 per account. And as you see, the quota is quite large, and even if you are going to create spreadsheets, you can create 3,200 spreadsheets per day, which is huge. In this case, we are not creating, we are editing. And if you are fetching URL from other APIs internally, you have 100,000 per day. That's the quota for both the basic and the enterprise plans. And the total runtime per day is 6 hours, which it's a lot. So basically, you can do a lot of things with this. So it's very powerful. One other thing that's interesting is, what about the future of AppScript? In the last Google Next event last year, in 2018, these were some of the statistics. So there are 3.3 billion weekly executions, 8.7 million weekly end users, and so on. So this thing is huge. Okay, I hope you get some ideas, and in a future video I will show how you can do more stuff with AppScript together with ManyChat. So I hope this is very useful. Let me know if you have questions in the comments, or if you would like me to produce something specific, etc. And please share the love and put likes and comments so other people can benefit from this as well. Thanks. Bye.